Hey, welcome to CLC's podcast this week, where I'm excited to discuss the $15 million fine that Equifax has got to pay to the CFPB on the relief fund that eventually gets to consumers. So we're going to talk about that, break down the key points that were found in there, and then really do a little bit of a deep dive into the dispute process. What happens when you generate a dispute and send it to the credit reporting agencies, and how this fine really breaks down the flaws in that process. So we'll talk about the key points. I mean, $15 million is a big number. That the CFPB, fined Equifax for, but it was really for the inadequate dispute investigation, right? So they found that Equifax was failing to thoroughly investigate consumers' disputes. They were even disregarding evidence provided by the consumers. So when you send in information, the credit reporting agencies should have a reasonable procedure and someone that can actually view that information and see, hey, you're the consumer and you're providing proof that whether it be a canceled check or a payoff statement or whatever, if there is proof that exists, that something is reporting inaccurately. And this report found that they were even disregarding that evidence provided. They also have a duty to forward that on to the furnisher. Anything that you're submitting with your credit reporting disputes, they've got to forward that on to the furnisher of that information, and found that that wasn't happening all of the time. Another big point was reinstatement of corrected errors, right? So this is where when something was challenged and it was either corrected or deleted for being incomplete, inaccurate, or unverifiable, it would be re-reported onto the credit report inaccurately and failing to do that, right? When that happens, you have to get what's called a reinsertion letter, meaning you're supposed to be provided that this information was deleted and now it's being reinserted. So, the next another big point was use of faulty software. Now, they've been using the same software platform. It's called eOscar, which was created by all three of the credit reporting agencies. TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax together use eOscar, which is a platform in which they communicate with the furnishers, meaning the furnishers or the accounts that are furnishing the information to report to the credit bureaus. That's the furnisher. So when doing that, they're using eOscar to do that, and found that software can be faulty in the CFPB's eyes, and it obviously is. They also had a big issue with confusing and conflicting consumer disclosures that were being provided. And even some disclosures were contradicting themselves going back to the consumers. So that was another big point. And, last but not least on this was I found really interesting. We've known for a really long time, which is why we've always advised consumers not to go to annualcreditreport.com and dispute things online, because the power in which you have is limited, right? And so now finally the CFPB is going after them, and it appears Experian's next. They just filed last week a very similar argument against Experian. So this is great information to come. But when someone goes to annualcreditreport.com or online, they found that the limited categories in which the consumer is able to choose from, and that's a fail as well. So with this order, Equifax has got to do quite a few things other than just write a $15 million check of improving these processes and correcting it. But fundamentally, this comes down to just Equifax not doing their job underneath the Fair Credit Reporting Act. So I want to talk a little bit about the dispute process, which can be really, really involved, and you don't necessarily have to be an expert on it to know it, but I just want to kind of give you a quick, brief overview. When you create a dispute or a consumer sends a dispute to the credit reporting agencies, that letter comes in and it's converted to a 2-digit code. And that 2-digit code is created through eOscar and communicated to the furnisher through eOscar and what's called an ACDV. And that's the form that they use. The consumer says, I wasn't late, not mine, or the information should be deleted, or identity theft, or any of the reasons in which the information is inaccurate is converted to a code. That ACDV or that form is sent to the furnisher with the 2-digit code that is converted to that reason. And the furnisher has to do an investigation. Once that investigation is complete, that information comes back. The form is updated, goes back to the credit reporting agencies, and they either delete, update, or verify. There's really only 3 options when you create a dispute, is delete the information, update the information, or verify the information unchanged and is accurate. That, in essence, is the process. And understanding that process, you can find the mistakes that are made or a failure of this process. And this $15 million settlement proves that process is not being done all of the time by Equifax. And you have a case almost verbatim that was just filed against Experian from the CFPB as well. And I would not be surprised if the third bureau is coming down the pike as well. So good news about this is consumers are going to get some relief out of this, not only the 15 million, but really taking the bureaus to task on following the law and combating it. Credit Law Center does this each and every day. Some of our most common claims are wrapped into each one of these. So if at any time you ever have a question on a credit report, or you think you've got inaccurate information and someone's failed to fix it, or you just want good, sound advice on how to improve your overall situation, reach out. We're here to help. We're going to find a mistake. We're going to use that mistake as leverage to gain a deletion. And if that leverage doesn't work, we'll pursue it in a law. So hope you're having a great day. Find this information helpful. Reach out with any questions, and we'll see you next week.